Do you believe? What a beautiful song. What a beautiful energy to step into, to understand faith in the process. What is the process? The process of what? Well, you said it beautifully this morning, Griselda, of the divine plan unfolding. Do you see the divine plan unfolding all the time? I don't either. Life doesn't add up so much of the time. It's hard to make sense of things. I look at things right now and the anger and the cruelty and the difficulty of people getting along. It just doesn't add up. But you know what life does? It opens up. And as it opens up, that's our part. It opens up to greater understanding, where we understand that part of our divine plan is to be the goodness that we bring to the world, the greater understanding and the connection. You know, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. But he didn't stop there. She didn't stop there. It didn't stop there. That energy kept creating and creating and creating, and out of itself, it created everything. God is intelligent and conscious and creative. Wow. And everything it manifested and brought into form is made out of itself. So figure it out. Do the math. We all have that same intelligence, consciousness, and creativity in us. And what we're having faith in, that we can't see it, but it's there. And that plan is unfolding for us, that we can be that creative energy to open up this life to something better. As you and I think it was you, Michael, said, open more and more to your best self, and that's what you're doing with your Lunch and Learn. As we open up to our best selves, then we're creating something more beautiful in the world. And even though it doesn't seem like it, humans love to bring beauty to the world. Don't you? Don't you love it when you make something beautiful? Whether it's a sound or a writing or a thought or a creation or decoration or a storytelling or dancing or music or building or growing or whatever it is. Don't you love that? I mean, in our DNA, in our genes, we come from the descendants of creators. All those things I said, the storytellers, the dancers, the growers, the builders, all of that, we come from that. And we're to take that and keep it growing and going, because life is ever evolving and ever becoming. But we must have, first and foremost, faith in God and faith in ourselves. My beautiful buddy, my 13th century buddy, said, you were born with potential, you were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You're not meant for crawling, so don't. Learn to use your wings and fly. Well, how do we do that? Well, learning how to use all that goodness and greatness and potential requires a journey within. Because in each of us, there is a seed of creativity. And if you think about seeds, when we plant a seed in the ground, it already knows what it's supposed to do. It has within that little tiny seed all the knowing it needs to become a beautiful flower, a giant tree, a carrot, whatever it is. All the fruit you need has already been planted, Tina. It's already done. We just need to harvest it and put it out on a plate, but it's there. In us is the same thing. You know, we trusted in a seed of a fruit or a flower or a tree, but do we trust that seed within us that knows? Are we nurturing it? The only reason that a seed that we plant doesn't grow is we don't take care of it. We don't give it the light, the water, the fertile soil it needs. But in us, it's a little bit different. our seed doesn't grow when we don't have faith in God, in the divine plan, or we don't have faith in ourselves, and we have too much faith in others or the opinion of others. How many of you feel maybe you've lost a little of your creativity, your potential, because of some of the words from other people? Somebody has criticized what you've done or told you you couldn't do it, right? Yeah. There's a sweet little book Martine loaned me, didn't give me, but let me borrow. It's called the Create Trilogy, and it's 3 children's books, and they're so cute, and I couldn't choose which one to share, but this one, Ish, is the one that I liked to share today. And it tells the story of Ramon. Ramon loved to draw. Anything, anywhere, anytime. He just loved to draw. He just drew and drew and drew. But one day, his brother looked over his shoulder. His brother, Miguel, looked over his shoulder and started laughing. Ramon was drawing a vase with flowers, a vase of flowers. And his brother laughed and laughed and said, "What is that?" Well, Ramon couldn't even speak, and he crumbled it up and he just threw it on the floor. And for months and months and months, he tried to get that vase of flowers right. And he couldn't do it. Once again, he just said, "I'm done." Well, his sister, Marisol, said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Nothing. I was doing nothing." She said, "Well, I was watching you draw." He said, "I can't draw." And he crumpled his paper up and threw it on the floor. And she said, "Well," and he said, and he started to leave, and she picked up the paper and ran down the hall, and he ran after her, and he was getting ready to run in her room and just scream at her. You know how brothers and sisters are. And he opened the door, and on the wall was a gallery of crumpled pictures that had been straightened out, hanging on the wall. And Marisol said, I went up to the vase of flowers, and she said, "This one is my favorite." And he said, "Well, it doesn't even look like a vase of flowers." And his sister said, "Well, it's a vase-ish." And he went, He started looking all his contemporary drawings as ishy. And he started getting ishy thinking. And then he changed. He had a whole new look on life when he was doing his ishy work. And he made ishy fish and ishy trees and ishy flowers, and he loved his paintings. And then one day, he started writing a poem. He said, "I don't know if this is a poem, but it's poem-ish." And his life changed, and he was joyful and happy, and pretty soon the creative energy just kept flowing. How interesting it is. You know, Marisol, his little sister, really helped him out in that. So we talk about having wings, and there's a quote that says, we're all angels with just one wing, and it's not until we embrace each other that we can fly. We can learn so much from kids, and reading this book and the creativity. Both our girls were very creative and loved to draw and paint, and lots of kids do, but then they were pretty good at it. When Tara was in 3rd grade, 8, and I'm kind of out of the education scene right now, so I don't know if it's the first time you get your report card, but she got a report card, and as always, I said to the girls, "Well, tell me about your report card. How do you feel about it? What's really good?" And it's surprising when there'd be a C and there'd be, "Oh, I worked so hard for that C," or there'd be an A and whatever. But Tara looked at her report card and she said, I'm really sad about the C in art, because I consider myself an artist." So we went to the parent-teacher conference, and I said to her sweet teacher, I said, "Well, Tara was a little upset with a C because she really thinks she's a good artist." And the teacher pointed right behind her and said, "Well, look at that picture. That beautiful," it was a ballerina. "Look at that. We have so many good artists. It's really hard." I said, "Okay." So we went home. I said, "Tara, we talked to your teacher, but she said there's just so many good artists. And there was a picture of a ballerina behind her. She said, oh, you mean the ballerina that was doing this and colored all like this and everything? She said, yeah, that's my painting. And I said to her, well, would you like me to talk to your teacher and have the grade adjusted? And she said, no, Mom, I know. And that's enough. Talk about learning from kids. I mean, if we could just have that much faith in ourselves that things are okay. Anyway, and we go to Deanna's house, and she has new pictures all over, and I didn't even know she was the artist of so many of them. And wow, they're great and beautiful. So we live in an evolutionary universe. Now, this universe is supposed to be ever spiraling upward, you know? And we have all this beautiful, wonderful, creative, intelligent energy that we're supposed to be using it to, you know, we change, of course, but always something new, something more, because that's what life is all about. But we can use this energy. All thought is creative, and we can oh, a picture, Brittany. Oh, can I have a hug? Oh, sweetie, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this. It's just too hard. It's beautiful, thank you. I have your other pictures in my other notebook. So we have this beautiful energy for us to use, but we have free will. So we can either keep doing the same thing over and over again. Are any of you in that rut right now? I mean, the last few years have been really tough. Just getting by in life, it gets tough. Or we can make every day new. But we have to have faith in the process, that we have a specialness to share, an ishy thing to share. You know, nature abhors unity. It does. Machines like uniformity. Creativity doesn't. Creativity loves diversity. We have to have faith in our creativity. Another little, I must need school. Remember days about school teaching, because that's what's been on my mind this week. But there was a class, a first grade class, drawing pictures in class, and the teacher was going around asking the kids what they were drawing. And went to one little girl, and she said, oh, what are you drawing? And she said, I'm drawing a picture of God. And the teacher kind of adjusted herself and said, well, no one knows what God looks like. And the little girl looked at her and she said, well, they will when I'm done with my picture. I want us to have a faith like that in what we do. I want us to believe in ourselves that what we do matters. We're important. We're created out of all this wonderful energy. We need to be using it in a way that brings more light, more love, more understanding, brings out a betterness, a bestness, a best-ishiness to us that we can use ourselves, because things seem so dysfunctional and falling apart right now, and we need to bring things together. You know, Ernest Holmes talks about in his, I think it's a new design for living, he talks about the humans are created, have developed into having a very large brain, much larger than what they need for the proportion of their bodies, but it's used to be a channel for their creativity. So if you get stuck, just put your hands on it. Oh my gosh, my brain is so big. I have so much to create. Because creativity, there's 3 C's to creativity. One is courage. The courage that little girl had to say, well, they'll know when I draw it, they'll know. The courage of the little Ramon to be ishy in his work. You know, it's a courage to step out of the box. The courage Brittany had to bring me her beautiful picture up here. It's just to know what you're here to give. Besides courage, there's 2 more, and I can't remember the second one. Oh, curiosity. Oh my gosh, I love curiosity. To always be curious. If you're not there, passion is sometimes very hard to get to. Do you know that? What's your passion? Right now it's getting up out of bed in the morning. I mean, it's hard when you ask somebody what their passion is, but if you say, what are you curious about? Well, I'm curious. Let me see. Tell me more. You can be curious about what somebody's thinking, what they're saying. Curious. Oh, as Sage led recently, the beautiful visioning. What's God's highest intention for me? I mean, that's a big curiosity, but little pieces of it. Curiosity. Passion is hard to drudge up sometimes, but curiosity we can just pull out of our pocket. So I say that. And the last C, it's courage, curiosity, and collaboration. There's two things we need to collaborate with. Of course, we have to collaborate with the great mystery, the mystery of life, because true creativity is a combination of joy and love and inspiration and pain and messiness. How many of you have had some of your best creativity come from a situation that was almost unbearable? Creativity grows from many different things. You and I are here to let that be an understanding, to do our time, our spiritual work, to have our collaboration with the mystery, and then collaboration with each other. I mean, what is life but to share and to grow and to do and to be together? And that's for us to do. So it's not enough, as I said, it's not enough just to work on our own wings. We have to lean on each other. There's an artist inside of you you don't know about, something new to create. My buddy again, my 13th century buddy said, be empty of worrying. And I love this line, think of who created the thought you're worrying about. Is that like so cool? I mean, who can you blame? All your worry starts within you. So it says, be empty of your worrying. Think of who created that thought. Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? It's so open. Move outside the tangle of your fear thinking and live in silence. How much time did you spend in silence this morning before entering into your day? How much time did you spend connecting with that infinite spirit? How much time? We can do it right now. Well, we'll do it in our chamber time. But we need to have silence as an important part of our day where we empty out. And he says, flow down in always widening circles of being. Always widening circles of being. The inspiration starts here. As I've said so many times, God speaks to the heart through a language of feeling. That's why it's universal. God doesn't have to know all the languages in the world. I don't know how many there are, but the language of feeling. So we have to take time to get there, but we can't stop there. Creativity, which we are, requires responsibility. What are we doing with it? We'll get inspired, but it cannot stop there. We have to go out and do the work, create what it is, make mistakes, create beautiful things. It's up to us to be in that process. Go to the place where you feel most alive, right here. And then spread that light in the world. And sometimes it feels like we're moving up a ladder, trying to get somewhere. You're prepared for the climb. Remember that seed within? You have everything you need right now. Let's just take this moment to just close that in this sacred time by knowing together that there is a power and presence of good within each and every one of us right now. A presence that inspires us to create, to become, to come together, to share, to know a greater good, to have faith in the process of life, that life has a plan. It is unfolding beyond what we can see with our eyes. It's something greater than that. And we feel it and know it and sense it in every cell of our being because we take time to be in that fertile soil and let that harmonious vibration of God's goodness, of creativity, to inspire us to be the best we can be right here and right now. Just breathing into that and feeling it flow through our bodies, our minds, our hearts, as we allow ourselves to melt into the faith that right where we are is where we are meant to be. Knowing that, believing it, saying, thank you, God, for this insight, understanding. We just seal this morning, this moment, this love, this community energy by saying, thank you, God. And so it is. And thank you all for being here this morning. God bless you. Thank you.